Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It is so good to see you. I am so excited about today. We are jumping into all things Christmas now, and oh, I'm just over the moon excited. I'm all giddy about it, if you can't tell. We've had our first snowfall and everything is white and it's beautiful and it's magical outside, and I am over the moon excited to just start getting all things Christmas all around my house. I'm really getting excited to decorate. However, it is just a smidge early for us, so I'm gonna wait one more week. But while we're waiting for that, let's spend today working on some really fun DIY Christmas crafts. We are going to make some home decor pieces, some Christmas ornaments, and just have a good time embracing the holidays, the upcoming holidays. So I'm excited to hang out. Thank you again for being here. Let's head on into the studio and start Christmas crafting. We're gonna start out our first project with this cute little craft that I'm very excited about. We have these cute little mini sleds that Michael made for me, and yes, he literally sat and made each one of these for me. I'm sure it was a painstaking endeavor for him. But we're going to turn them into cute little Christmas ornaments, and I'm going to start off by mixing up some red paint. I don't like a super bright red paint, so I'm going to mix this with a couple of colors, burnt umber and a little bit of copper, and I'm going to paint all of the whole part of the sled except for the skis, and I'm going to save those and paint them black after I have gotten everything painted. And after I painted this red one, I wasn't sure I liked it, so I decided to stain one and see if I liked the stained one better, and I kind of did. So I made 3 of the stained ones and 2 of the red ones. And now I'm just going to go over these with a little bit of sanding to just kind of rough up the edges and give them a little bit of that rustic, worn look. Now we get to move on to the fun part. This is my favorite part of crafting. I love the embellishing. I love how you can just add a fun few little elements and give each one of these their own individual character. So I'm just using a variety of different Christmas picks, like some pine boughs, some spruce boughs, berries, ribbon, bows, some bells, and I'm just gonna kind of layer each of these until I feel like I like how it's turning out and I like the look. And you know, I don't really have a point where I call it done, and on this one I added a bell. I thought it was cute, but I just kind of go until I feel like, you know, it's had enough. And I know you've heard me say this before, that I feel like sometimes less is more and sometimes more is better. And sometimes that's the case when you're when you're working with embellishments. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep working on each one of these. I'm going to give them all their own little special touch, and then we will call this project complete. Okay, y'all, this next project is going to be kind of a fun one. We are going to make a variety of different Christmas bells, and for the supplies, I just foraged my craft closet for just a variety of different things. I found some tin buckets that I thought looked great. They just had that typical bell shape, and then I also found some fun these really fun tins that just kind of had that unique older bell shape. And then we're also going to use some plastic cups, y'all, that I found at Dollar Tree. These cups right here, I just thought they had the perfect bell shape. So I'm just going to paint each and every one of these, and I'm starting out painting them with this. This color is called Rust by Folk Art. And this cup here, I painted a nutmeg color to begin with, and I did not like it. So then I mixed up my rust color with some baking soda to give these a lot of texture, because I really wanted my bells to have that very rustic, old, found look to them. And when you add baking soda to your paint, it gives the paint a lot of texture. So especially if you're going for that rusty look, because I don't know, you know, rusty things have kind of their own unique texture. So the baking soda definitely gives a lot of texture. Once that first layer is dry, I'm going to go over these with a little bit of copper and then a little bit of gold to just give them some fun accents. And now it is time for, yes, you guessed it, the embellishing. So we're going to embellish these bells as well. We're going to embellish our bells. Oh my, okay, that was bad. So I'm just going to add a little, some bells. I found these bells on Amazon, and I will link them before too. And I just strung them through our cups so that they can actually have like a true bell effect. And then I want to make a loop at the top so that we can hang these from, you know, our Christmas tree, or you can hang them from, you know, you could just hang them from anything that you wanted, really. And then I'm going to just add some greenery, lots of little greenery to each of these, and some not bells, I'm sorry, I have bells on my mind apparently, some pine cones and some berries. And you know, I'll just keep working. Like I added a little curly Q here with some wire that I found. And again, I'm just going to keep layering these until I get that desired look. I'll add some ribbons and some bows. And again, I'll say it again, sometimes less is more and sometimes more is better. And in the situation with these bells, I did actually tend to go a little bit more on the less side of things, just to kind of keep them more elegant and streamlined looking. Next up on our Christmas crafty projects is going to be some fun star ornaments for the tree. And I cut these stars out on just some very thin plywood on my scroll saw. And then I found these really cool tin sheets from the Dollar Tree. They're like a faux tin tiles. They're made of plastic, so they're very easy to cut. So I'm going to trace my stars around these, and then I'm going to cut out all of my tins. My best advice here is to cut one star at a time, because I made the mistake of cutting them all out and then had a hard time matching up the tin star to the wood star. So I would do one at a time and then match it to your star. Once I've cut them all out, I'm going to go ahead and glue them to my wood backing. And I'm using hot glue here, and I do use a pretty liberal amount of hot glue, and then I just make sure I get the whole wood thing. And then my first one, I put the glue on the actual tin tile. Then I got smart and put the glue on the wood, which worked so much better. Once I have all the tiles down, I'm going to paint these, and I'm going to use some metallic paint for these. I'm going to use a copper and a gold. And I'm going to just go ahead and brush on like a base coat here. But then when I go to do my second coat, oh, and I also do paint the sides and the back, because I don't want any wood showing on this. And so when I go to do my second coat, I did discover that a pouncing motion worked better than a brushing motion on these. Like you can see here, I'm pouncing the paint on, and it gave me a lot better coverage for whatever reason on this these faux tin tiles. But I really love how these turned out. I love the texture of them. This is just a really fun way to add a different, you know, just some pizzazz to your wood stars. Once my first coat is all completely dry, I'm going to go back over these a little bit with some dry brushing and some gold just to give these stars some fun highlight. And I think when they're hanging on the tree lights will make this gold really, really shimmer. And then once that paint is dry, we will start embellishing. And there's going to be a lot of embellishing in all of our crafts today. So I'm going to first put some hangers on these so that we can hang them from the tree. And then again, I'm just going to start layering my embellishments on with some, like I'm using holly here, and then I'll use some bells and some berries and lots of bows and lots of pine. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys just sit back and enjoy watching me do this. And you know, like I said, there's really no rhyme or reason to how I decide to do this. I kind of just go with my gut. Oh, these pine cones, y'all, I found these. I live really close to a foresty kind of park area, and I went foraging for some pine cones recently and found these really cool pine cones, and they're almost like a copper color. So they looked really, really cool on these. I love how these turned out. Y'all have to let me know what you think. Okay, so then I had some stars left over, and I decided to just paint these ones a solid white, and then I just did a little bit of distressing on the edges. And again, I'm just going to embellish these, and I found these cute little tree ornament tags at Walmart, and I thought, oh, these will be the cutest embellishments ever, because I liked how they just had some fun little words on them like merry and bright and joy. So again, I'm just going to keep embellishing these until I just feel like they look right. One thing I would like to mention is that as I'm embellishing, I do tend to keep in mind the theme that I'm going to go with for a particular room in my home. And I made these stars thinking about, you know, my family room, because my family room tree, our main tree down there, is going to be very much like the country Christmas theme. So I did keep that in mind as I was embellishing these. So just embellish these to the style that suits your decor. Project, we're going to make a cute, whimsical, jolly little snow fellow, and I'm just using some scrap wood pieces that we had in the shop. I'm using some 4x4 posts that I cut into different size blocks to make, like this one I cut for his hat, and I'll put the exact sizes of these down in the description box for y'all, because I don't really remember what they are right off the top of my head right now. But I'm just going to paint this one black, and then for this part of the hat, I used a 2x4 and cut it to size. Then I'm just also going to paint this black. And I'm using chalk paint here, and I really only had to use one coat on these. It didn't require much more than one coat. Then for the snowman body, I have some square blocks that I cut, and I'm going to paint these white. And yeah, they have some rough edges on them, but after I get them all painted, I do go over these with a sanding block just to kind of give it a little bit of distressing. So I'm going to finish painting these, and then we will let that dry, and then you guessed it, we'll embellish our snowman. Now that our paint is dry, I'm going to adhere all of the parts together. And I am using a combination of hot glue and wood glue here, and the hot glue just gives me an instant hold while I'm waiting for the wood glue to set up. So I adhered the top part of his hat to the brim of the hat, and now I'm connecting the body parts using the same technique. And I did set these little blocks off center just a little bit on his body just to give it a little extra whimsy. Then we will move on to embellishing, and I'm going to put some buttons on his little center part to, you know, give it the little jacket part. And I'm just using some black buttons that I had in my stash, and I did run some red thread through these to make them look, you know, threaded on. Then I will go ahead and pencil his face on, and then I'm going to go over that with some paint, or actually I ended up using a Sharpie because I was kind of feeling a little bit lazy and didn't want to get the paint out. And for his nose, I just thought it would be kind of fun to use a cinnamon stick for his nose rather than the traditional carrot. I'm going to set the body aside for a few minutes and go back to work on this hat. I wanted to make like just some accent around the brim. So I just took some of this fun flannel fabric, and I'm going to glue the edges of this down so that we kind of have like a nice smooth edge rather than that, you know, rough. And you could sew this if you wanted to, but it's just as easy to use the hot glue since it's such a, you know, small surface area. So once I've got that glued into place, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around his hat, and I'm going to glue that into place as well. And I kind of fold over this edge just to make more of a smoother transition in this. And I kind of like how that turned out. And then we're going to go ahead and embellish the hat with some just this fun greenery pick that I had. And I'm just going to hot glue this into place, and then we'll add some holly to the front, and I think we'll call his hat done, and then we can go back to working on the body. Moving back to our cute little snowman's body, I decided I did not like those eyes, and so I found some berries that were a very, very deep purple. They almost look black. So I glued the berries on because I thought those would make such a much cuter eyes, and it kind of gives it some dimension. Then we're going to go ahead and put a scarf on him because no snowman is complete without a scarf, and I'm just using that same flannel that we used around the brim of the hat. And I'm kind of just going to do some fluffing and some folding and some, you know, scrunching. And then once I get that scrunching, folding in the, you know, to where I want it, I'll just glue it into place. Then on the ends, I'm going to kind of tie them together so that it's a little more scrunched up at the ends. And then I'll cut off the excess. And then we're going to glue on some cute little pom-poms. And I found these pom-poms at Dollar Tree, and I was actually impressed with the quality of these because these are really nice pom-poms. So once I get the palm glued onto the actual scarf, I'm going to glue the scarf in place, kind of, you know, give it that little bunch and scrunch, and then glue them into place where I like them. And yeah, I think the scarf is good in here. I'm just doing a little more scrunching and bunching. And then last but not least, we will glue his hat onto his body. And I'm just going to use that same technique with some wood glue and then a little bit of hot glue to give it that instant hold until the wood glue sets up. For our very, very last project today, we are going to make kind of a rustic wood forest. So I had this scrap pallet wood, and Michael cut it into these very sharp triangles for me to resemble a tree shape. And I just kind of laid them out in a grouping, and then once I got them positioned the way I liked them, I went ahead and glued them together. And I'm using again that same method of some wood glue and then hot glue for instant hold until the wood glue sets up. And I do clamp these in place because these were a little bit fragile and didn't have a lot of gluing surface. So I wanted to clamp them just to give it extra security until I knew that that wood glue was completely set up. Alright, I've got these all glued and clamped, and I'm going to let this set up for about 12 to 15 hours before I go ahead and embellishment. And the embellishments on these, y'all, I am keeping them very, very, very simple. I am just going to add some of these really cute metal stars to the ends of each one of these trees, and then I am going to call this project done. And although it is very simple, I feel like the end result has a very elegant, sweet look to it. I think these trees would make a really beautiful backdrop to any of your styled vignettes, or if you just need a filler piece, these would work perfectly for that.
Oh my gosh, y'all, that was a blast. I had so much fun. I really hope that you all had fun as well. I love everything that we created today, and I was trying to pick a favorite and I just can't do it. I think every single one of the projects that we made are my favorite from this particular DIY crafting session. I loved them all. So I asked Michael what his favorite was, and he loved our jolly little snowman, so I thought that was kind of cute. Y'all have to let me know down below what your favorite was from today's DIY projects. So I just want to thank you all again so much for hanging out with me today. It was a blast. I loved having you all here. I love being able to share these projects with y'all, and I really do hope that you are inspired by some of the ideas that we made today to create some of your own projects. And if you do, please feel free to share them with me over on Instagram and tag me, because I would love to see what you guys are all creating for the Christmas holidays. Alrighty friends, so that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you again so much for spending time with me today. I just really appreciate each and every one of you and love having you all here. Next week, we are going to be working on a few more fun DIY home decor pieces, and then the week after that we are going to be decorating my whole house. We're going to be decking the halls with Christmas. So I'm very, very excited. I cannot wait to see you all again next week. Until then, y'all take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.